Hello, beautiful people. Welcome to or welcome back to another Bangs audio review. Today, oh my god, today we're doing the Xduoo TA-22 hybrid tube transistor DAC amp. I've been putting this off because, well, frankly, terrified to do this kind of a review because it is a significant chunk of money. And if you're going to take my word for it and end up buying it, I really want you to know everything that there is to know before you do that, and hopefully make sure that you're actually going to like it and feel like it's worth the price, which is $489. So this is one of three things that I have that are in that range. Four technically. So Moondrop Venus, I paid $530 for that. The Focal Elysia, I paid $400 for those. The Hibby R6 V3, I paid $500 for that. I didn't get that on sale. Oops. And this. And so far, the only ones that I've reviewed, the only one I've reviewed, were the Moondrop Venus, and yeah. So let's do this. We're going to do it sort of methodically and hopefully detailed enough for you. And I hope that I won't take up the entire 25 minutes and 38 seconds that my GoPro allows me to go before it stops recording, as I found out. Anyway, Xduoo company, they do a lot of different things. They do a lot of really good things insofar as DACs and amps and DAC amp combos and tubes and solid state and combos, right? So this would be like, I think, kind of their middle of the road price wise, because I know they do some less expensive things and they do some portable DAC amps as well, like the Xduoo 5 I think is one of their famous ones, and that comes in a lot of different iterations, as well as like fully balanced and pro version that gets up, I think, maybe even more expensive than this. So yeah, I mean, they're well respected. They make good products, and from what I gather from my limited experience with them, they're worth what they're asking for. So I went ahead and decided to do this review because it's kind of pertinent at the moment. And this is a little story that I'll tell you about my experience in buying this. So at the moment, this is on sale. It is on both Apos Audio and Linsol for $415 and like 65 cents, something like that. It's a significant chunk of money off, like over $75 off at the moment. It will be that way for another week. Today is March 20th. The sale runs through March 27th, 2024. If you're going to get it, now would be the time. I didn't. I bought mine back in the middle of February. When they went on sale last week, and I bought it from Apos, when they went on sale last week, a couple 3 days ago, I reached out. Actually, I think that was Monday. I reached out and I said, hey, I just bought this like 30, maybe 40 days ago. Is there any way you could possibly honor the sale price for me and, refund or credit me the difference? And I waited for about, I don't know, an hour, maybe. And they came back with an absolutely, we will, run it through our finance team, and we will get it credited to your account within 2 days. It happened within a day. It happened within like 6 hours. Like, I went on to my account and there it was. Boom. So big props to Apos Audio for your, I'm not even going to call it customer service. I'm going to call it customer care, because that's what that is. That's customer care. That's a company who cares about their customers. It was doable, I think, because it was within the return window, which they have is 45 days. Now, if it had gotten outside of that window, not sure. I didn't ask, but I'm thinking most places will honor a price match or a price change within their return period. So beyond that, I can't speak to it, but I was within it, and they did it, and it was like no questions asked, no problem. Really nice people, handled it really fast. Ta-da. I have had similar customer care experiences with Linsol too, on a couple of different occasions, and I got to tell you, I think that's why they're my two favorite companies to buy from. Honestly, yeah. Sometimes I'll do AliExpress if the price is really really good, and I don't mind waiting like up to 4 weeks sometimes to get things. And yes, sometimes I'll do Amazon if it's just right there and I can have it in a couple of days. But the companies I prefer to support are the smaller, I'm not saying small, but smaller companies such as Appos and Linsol. I know Linsol's not small, but it ain't Amazon, right? And no offense to you, Amazon, but you guys get a lot of my money already, so let me spread it around a little bit, okay? Is that cool? Back on track. That was a little story. So, yes, $415 and change right now for this particular product. Technical specifications on the power end of things, you are looking at single-ended up to 1500 milliwatts. It's 1.5 watts, folks, and that is at a 32 ohm load. And on the balanced, which you can see here, single-ended 6.35. Here is the balanced 4.4 and balanced XLR. These guys go up to 3000 milliwatts, or 3 full watts of power. You will not have any trouble whatsoever powering your headphones, your IEMs, your car battery. Listen, not okay, that's ridiculous. But power to spare. There was nothing that I had any problem running off of this. In fact, I don't think even on high, on high gain, when I was sort of testing out harder to drive stuff, and even though it doesn't say it, like the Moondrop Venus is like a 18 ohms, but it's hard to drive because it's 100 millimeter planar. That I think I got up to about 55 on high gain, 55 out of 100 for volume, and it was like gonna wreck my eardrums, so I turned it back down. So yes, it's rated for anything from 16 to 600 ohms in resistance. I have no doubt in my mind whatsoever that it can handle that. I did some testing on the Xduoo Kima with how come I can never think of that stupid word? Cable which you could switch the terminations on. You know what I'm talking about. Because I wanted to test to see if there was much of a difference between the single-ended and the balanced insofar as just, going up volume. So I was going up in 5 steps, and, I didn't notice a lot of difference between the volume on the single-ended and the volume on the balanced. But what I did notice is that when I got up and things started getting a little bit crazy, meaning like pretty high volume for listening, that the balanced could handle it better and keep it sort of from getting to the point where I was screaming in pain a little bit better than the single-ended. So it stayed a little bit clear, a little bit smoother for longer in the higher volume. But honestly, like either or, if you are a 3.5 or 6.35 person, no worries, you're good. If you're a 4.4 or an XLR person, no worries, you're good. There is no problem whatsoever there. Let's see, what do we have? Saber DACs. So they're dual ES9038 Q2Ms in this puppy. As you can see, the amplification, they're actually Class A rated transistors along with the tubes, and the tubes are 12AU7 preamp vacuum tubes, which can be switched out, which is pretty cool because there is a little difference in sound signature from the 3 different tubes that I used. Those would be the stock Xduoo tubes, which were neutral to warm because they're tubes, right? So little warm, but very neutral, very sort of just there they are. No coloration other than the warmth from the tubes. That was fine. If you don't want a tube swap, tube roll, tube switch, whatever you want to call it, if you don't want to do that, you don't have to, because the stock tubes are fine. I like to tinker, so of course I got a couple of different tubes. I got these JJ Electronics high performance gold pins from tubedepot.com. I'll link them because they're a cool store and nice people. So yeah, these are the CC802Ss, 12AU7, gold pin, as you can see. To me, these were my favorites because they were still very balanced and somewhat neutral warm, but they had a little bit more depth to them, a little bit more stage to them, a little bit more detail to them, and just a little bit better energy overall to them than the stock tubes did. So maybe a little bit of a side grade versus an upgrade, but there was a difference that, you know, it was audible, right? You could tell. So I really like those guys. I think you get a gain matched pair for about $65 from Tube Depot. That would definitely be, I think, worth it, right? I mean, let's look at this overall, okay? And real quick, the other ones I got were Tungsol, which were made in Russia. And those are really warm. Like, really warm, bassy, engaging. Like, I like those tubes for certain sets, but not for all of my earphones or headphones. Like, they were too warm for some. That's all I'm saying. You know, I'll put them in, I'll use them, but only if I'm going to use something like the Focal Elysias or the Moondrop Venus, or like, these are out for a reason. Kiwi ears, Quintet, the Eiffel Performer 5 actually doesn't really need the Tungsols. The Ulan by Continuum, just put it this way, no matter what tubes I had in, these three sets sounded absolutely freaking amazing. Like, amazing. I think this is why, though, because you've got really high quality components, you know, Class A amplifier, good tubes, the DAC chips, just really good internals on this. And what it does, like, I kind of made a word up, you'll love it. It's called Cool Nickel. No. Yes. Coolinical. Sorry. Coolinical. So if you have a set like the Kiwi Ears Quintet that is a little too cold and analytical for you, you plug it into the TA-22 and it becomes coolinical. So it's not cold anymore, it's cool. And it's still analytical, right? So that's what I called it, coolinical. All right, shoot me later. But that's what it does. So retaining details, all the tech performances, the resolving, all of that kind of stuff, but livening things up, warming things up, making things more engaging, and increasing the sound stage and just giving it better energy. So those are the sets that really, really benefited from it. And so that, I mean, to me, it's worth the investment. I know not everybody's going to jump out and go spend $415 to get this. And I will say, it is not necessary to do so. Like, if I just had the FIO, or if I just had the iFi, or if I just had the SMSL, well, maybe not the SMSL, it's a little too flat for me, but if I just had one of these for significantly less money, like at least $300, if not close to $400 less, would I be okay? Yes. Yes, I would. 100%. Okay. But if you have sets like I do, like the Focal, like the Moondrop Venus, like the Quintet, like the Elysia, I said that, like the Ulim, it does something to them. Like, I'm not coping anymore. Like, I was coping with the focals, I was coping with the Moondrop a little bit, even though I knew what it was supposed to be. Supposed to be a reference set, supposed to be transparent, supposed to be clinical, right? Okay, I didn't listen to it a whole heck of a lot, you know, like the i5 helped a little bit, the FIO helped a little bit, but it was still kind of like, I don't really want to be that serious, you know, like I'm not like mixing and mastering somebody's recording, some like classical music artist's recording. Like, that's not what I'm doing. I'm trying to just enjoy my music. And I wasn't really getting that experience out of the Venus until I plugged it into this. Now I can listen to it. Now I can go, okay, yeah, I'm not coping anymore. This set is really fucking good. Same thing more or less happened with the Elysia, although the Elysia was already sort of leaning that way because it's closed back and it's dynamic driver, so it was not quite as lean and clinical, but still was, to the point where I was like, I kind of like this set, you know? Now I freaking love it because of this. That's what makes the TA-22 worth the investment. To me. I always like to say to me. Now, if you're living in a land where $500 is out of reach, I don't want you to get FOMO, because just don't. Because you probably don't have the Moondrop Venus or something like it. You probably don't have a focal headphone or, you know, something like that. You probably don't have like an Aria, what do you call it, Hi-Fi Man Aria or Ananda Nano, or, you know, you probably don't have big, expensive planar driver headphones. Okay? So I'm not saying you're missing out. I guess what I'm saying is that I do, and this saved them for me. Like, it made them worth listening to. If that's not your world is more like the FIO and some, you know, $50 to $150 IAMs. Like, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. If you're using a dongle DAC on your IAMs, as long as they're not too hard to drive, don't worry about it. It's not, you're not like, this is like the, you know, that last, 15% that they talk about. So I might have gotten about 5% into that last 15%. There's probably still 10% to go when you get into kilobucks stuff, you know, $1,000 plus IMs, headphones, DAC amps, stuff like that. Yeah, okay, I'm probably never going to get there, honestly. Like, I don't know if I need that last 5 to 10%. What I do know is that this made a big difference on some of what I have. Like, a big enough difference to me to make it worthwhile. It also didn't play like super great with sets that are already warm and bassy to start with. Like, even with neutral tubes in, like the Xduoo stock tubes, like, it wasn't like super great with the harmonic Dynathena. It was like not great at all with the Thea Audio Ghost or Thea Audio Ghost. Didn't do those any favors, you know. Didn't do like things like and I didn't test everything because I just ran out of time. You know, anything like Zero Red or Nova or things that have already like a bunch of mid bass, it's not going to improve them. You know, it just isn't. So what I'm saying is that the use case that this is best for are those really like reference, really clinical, like really colder kind of sets. It just brings them to life. It fills them with energy. It brings their sound stage. It makes them better. And that's why I love it. And that's why I am not coping. So to me, it almost is worth 3 times the amount that I paid for it, because it turned 2 expensive headphone sets into something that I will actually listen to now. And a couple of IEMs as well that I'll listen to more than I was. So yeah, that's the gist of it. This is not for everybody. It shouldn't have to be for everybody. If it's not for you, don't worry about it. If you're in a situation like I was, where you have some things that you're coping with that you think might benefit from some warmth and bassy signature and musicality and increase and soundstage and stuff like that, if you have those sets, and whether they're IEMs or headphones, or like, this might be worth it for you. So I'm gonna wrap it up. I will link to both of my favorite stores, Appos and Linsol. Linsol will of course be the affiliate link. So again, if you want to support the channel and you're thinking about buying this, I'd appreciate you using that link. If you don't feel comfortable with that, use the Appos link. Or go to Amazon. I think it's still 14, or yeah, it's still like 4.15 on Amazon too. Although it might end up going through Shenzhen. I think Shenzhen Audio is what it goes to. So yes, it gets a 100% highly recommended from me for that use case. And if you have or want to spend the money, and if you don't, or you don't worry. Life is not going to end. You're just fine where you are, right? I think if more people like understood that it's okay to be just fine with where you are, the world might be a little bit better place. But it's me pontificating. Anyway, wrapping it up. Yes, Xduoo TA-22, beautiful, lovely, wonderful, warm, musical, bassy, stagey, fantastic. If you want it, go get it. All right, that's it. Love y'all. Nothing but peace to you. We'll see you.